from FS Securities. We are an education and information firm on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And every morning I go through what happened overnight in the financial markets and try to forecast what we may see these coming days and weeks. I show you how investors and traders can make money on our stock market. I show you what is hot and what is not, and what you should really hold and what you should fold. And by the way, if you have any particular feedback you would like to give us, we would really appreciate it. So review the presentation, rate it and share it if you wish. Okay, well, overnight and from around the globe, we start with the Dow. You can see the Dow was up 160 points, reaching almost very close to all-time high after the Nasdaq has really actually gone yesterday at all-time high by reaching all above previous records. It dropped a little bit. Some money was taken out of the market on the Nasdaq. However, the S&P 500 also zoomed up by 0.2%, adding on to the 0.3% rise yesterday. Okay, in Europe, the Stoxx 50 index, which comprises most major European markets, was up 0.5%. In London, the FTSE 100 index was up 0.1%, adding on to the 0.6% rise the day before. However, you can see 3 days ago it was down by 0.7%. The DAX in Germany was up nearly 1%. In Japan, the Nikkei index was up 0.7%, and in China, the Shanghai index was up 0.2%. And look what happened to our market yesterday, and that was actually on the back of the technology index. It was up 155 points, 2.6%, also on the back of some good news that a vaccine may be close to reality somewhere from the Oxford University in England. Okay, and by the way, iron ore price shot up another 1.7% to $111.43 US per ton. And Bitcoin, for those people who follow Bitcoin, was up $215 US to 9,385. And that converts to approximately 13,160 Australian dollars, up 35 Australian dollars overnight. Remember, the Australian dollar gained a lot of strength overnight. And the main thing here is actually the Australian dollar has really reached very close to 12 months high, 1.6% higher. And look at the silver price, $21.66. That's actually the first time this is actually trading near a 4-year high, the highest level for nearly 4 years. The cheaper metal has really outpaced the gold price gains this month, and the metal is following the same trajectory as during the global financial crisis. Back then, price dropped during the worst of the crisis before rallying to fresh records nearly $50 by 2011. So remember, silver could be a star performer. We are actually going to look at silver stocks in Australia and see which one we can actually pick up. We might put a paper on, and it will be on our website. And as I mentioned, the Australian dollar 71.3, very, very high up, and gaining also on the euro, 61.8 versus 61.2 a couple of days ago. And we'll give you 55.9, let's call that 56 pence, and 107 New Zealand. Okay, now we're looking at the charts. This is the Dow charts, the weekly and the daily. This is where we get all our forecasts because we look at the indicators. And you can see the stochastic, that's one of the indicators. The blue line above the red line, this is bullish, and above the 80%, again bullish. Those dots represents the parabolic stop and reverse below the candles. Green candles mean up day, up week. Red candles mean down week. And the parabolic stop and reverse below the candles, that's also very bullish. And you can see the trend week by week on the Dow. And look at the daily chart. We've had few drops in the market, and even yesterday the market really shot up and even closed higher. Remember, it closed below the high of the day, and that is not really what we actually like to see. We like to see that the closing price on the high of the day rather than below the 50% level. So maybe people actually decided, okay, it's time to take some profit, and even though the market has actually gained on the day. The volume was reasonably high. As you can see, the volume was high, and the parabolic stop and reverse bullish. Bullish means uptrend. The stochastic somewhere near neutral. And also good news is that the 50-day moving average has crossed over the 100-day moving average. That's positive. And as long as we see the 50-day moving average below the 200, obviously we like to see the 200-day moving average below both 50 and 100-day moving averages. But anyway, it's gaining. It's gaining and approaching the 200-day moving average. So we are really on an uptrend movement. Looking at our daily ASX 200, our market gauge, you can see that it is actually above the 21-day moving average, which is good sign. The 9-day moving average, that's the orange. If I can actually put some mark here, this is actually the line here. You can see that going up and up and up and up. That's the 9-day moving average above the 200. Sorry, that's the 21-day moving average. That's positive. Also, the parabolic stop and reverse. These dots happen to be bullish on the upside. Stochastic bullish. So on our market on the daily, you can see there is very positive uptrend. And the only thing that we have to be aware of, even though the stochastic is bullish on the weekly, the parabolic stop and reverse bullish on the weekly, the 9-week moving average approaching the 21-week moving average, and hopefully will go above it. That's also bullish. And all the candles, as you can see, the candles stuck between the 50% retracement from the high, which we've seen here, all the way down to the low, and then it's actually gaining all 50% retracement, hitting the 55 retracement, and staying above the 55 retracement for a long time. We like to see those candles hitting up the 61.8 retracement on the Fibonacci. If these candles start to go above that line, the green line, the 61.8, we can actually go all the way back to where we were before the coronavirus decline, which is 7,211. That's the index ASX 200. All right, now on our mechanical system, we can see that by the way, from the chart, we pick up all those signals. For the investor, we look at the monthly and the weekly. For the traders, we look at the weekly and the daily. And for the very aggressive traders, we look for a much shorter term and more aggressive trades. The GXY-ASX 200 gained a bit more momentum from the day before. This is this morning, and that's yesterday morning, and that's 2 days ago. So it went down and then back up again. ANZ Bank, we were actually bearish for the very aggressive trader. Now we turn neutral, but we haven't got any bullish signs here for the investor and the conservative trader. BHP, we are reasonably strong on BHP because of the price of iron ore reaching a very high level at 111 US per ton. CBA of the banks, ANZ, CBA, NAB and Westpac. You can see that CBA, the darling of the market, has gone bullish while ANZ is neutral, NAB is bearish, and Westpac is neutral. So if you want to trade the banks, you trade CBA. And look at CBA, yesterday was up 3.4% despite the decline of 0.8% the day before. ANZ gained 2.5%, but then look, the day before dropped 1.2% and has been dropping for a number of days. NAB, you can see here, gained 2.5%, but then 1.6% drop. And Westpac 2.5% as well, and major drop the day before. CBA is the only one that actually was the least falling bank the day before, so obviously 3.3 was actually the best performer of all the banks. CIMIC, that's the old Leighton Holdings, bearish, and CIMIC was up 0.5%, but then the day before was 2.8% drop. So you got to really take not just one day movement, but more than one day. And that's where all the indicators look at the weekly and the daily. Remember, the weekly doesn't change at least only once at the end of the week, while the daily can change every morning. And Macquarie Bank, good performance. Macquarie Bank 0.6%, 2.7%, 2.8% increase yesterday. Newcrest Mines having a very good trades for a number of days. That's why we are bullish right across. And the bank, beside the bank, you've got the gold and silver mining happen to be very strong. And Newcrest Mines, of course, trades gold and silver. Rio, better than BHP. Rio was up 0.9% almost 2 days in a row, from 105 to 106. BHP from 38 to $38.80. West Farmers is also performing well, and Woodside Petroleum, despite the rise yesterday of 2.6%, but look, the day before it was actually down 2.6%. So one day movement doesn't really affect all the indicators. You have to look at more than one day. And of course it's being affected by the monthly and the weekly for the investor, and affected by the weekly and the daily for the traders. All right, we like to look at the volume in the market, and yesterday the volume was actually higher than the previous 5 days. And you can see here 46% or 47% of all the stocks advanced, and only 17% of all the stocks declined. So up day with up volume, that's very positive. However, by the way, the futures this morning showing that the market is likely to drop by nearly 0.6%, nearly 60 points, if not more. And if you look at the last 5 days, obviously because of what happened yesterday, the advance is above the declines. Okay, yesterday we can see that a company called Imuron went from, actually had 250% rise, was 53 million shares traded. So from 42 cents to 85 cents, the high of the day was 95 cents. We're going to look at this company Imuron and see if we can trade it on the CFDs. Zip is a company that we are trading at the moment and had 2 days of rises. Yesterday morning we said it was up the day before by 2.4%, and yesterday it rose by 8.8%. We are trading Zip at the moment. Afterpay went up by 8% yesterday, and Afterpay the day before, if I can see it, where are you? Afterpay was up 3.2%, so that's nearly 11% over 2 trading days. Northern Star, a gold company or gold mining company, 4.5% and 1.4% the day before. Open Day is a company that we are trading, was 3.5% rose yesterday, and after pay, an Open Pay was up nearly 6% the day before. By the way, Open Pay was actually at one stage yesterday up nearly 7%, but then some people decided to take some profit. Evolution Mining, a gold mining company, 3% yesterday and 1.8% the day before. And by the way, this presentation will be on the website shortly, and you can actually go and look at it again if you want to. All right, well, announcement today, Australian leading index. Already have the figures at midnight, came up with a drop of 0.4%. Today at 10:30 we're going to see manufacturing index, leading index. Previously it was 0.2% month on month. We'll have to see what happens. And retail sales at 11:30 will also indicate how strong the retail. My expectation is it will be strong because of people who have got extra money in their pocket. The rest of Canada, we're not really excited by Canada at the moment, not being the regulatory. Some information at 11 p.m. in America. All right, well, we also scan the market every day to see which stocks have actually advanced in volume above the average volume. So we look at the last 50 days and we work out the moving average. So this company, Orica, has got 1.5 million transaction average over 50 days. Well, yesterday we've seen double that. 108% above the average volume, and the price went slightly up. This company, Computer Shares, the price went up by 2.4%, and the volume increased by 43% from the average volume. BHP had just 1% rise in the price, not a great deal, and the volume also very steady. That's for the top 50 up and down, nothing on the downside for the top 50. For the mid cap, for the aggressive traders, Galaxy Resources, 11% in the price, and Galaxy has been rising for 2 days in a row. And the volume, instead of 4 million transaction average over 50 days, yesterday it had 10 million shares on Galaxy. West Gold Resources, again 0.4% rise in the price, 82%. So we look at all those companies and we see which one we're likely to actually be able to trade on the CFD platform. On the downside, I'm not aware of those companies, so just leave them aside. Okay, finally, the disclaimer. This presentation did not take into consideration your financial circumstances. We don't know your financial circumstances, especially if you're not a client of ours and you're actually visiting this website or this presentation for the first time. Everything we presented is only of general advice only, and it does not take into account your objectives, your financial situations. If you have any questions, all you have to do is ask. And to ask, these are our details. You can write to me at george@fssecurities.com.au. FS stand for full service. george@fssecurities.com.au. You can always visit our website, fssecurities.com, and all the presentations happen to be on the website, and all our recommendations and all our picks, all the recommendations that come up for different stocks. If you're ringing from overseas, you need to put 61, that's the country code, and then you don't need a 0. 61 0411259526. If you're ringing from Australia, you ring or you text me on 0411259526. Okay, happy trading, and I hope you make some money.